guys, I thought while I had you here I would talk about a book that I read recently by Brom. He's a horror writer and he also illustrates things himself. So, since the library that I borrowed this from covered everything in stickers, this is basically what the front of the book is. And I really liked it. It's about a cursed ring. It takes place in the 80s, and this girl needs to remove the curse, and the only way to do that is to give numbers to her song that's going to break this curse. So she needs it. She basically needs it amplified in order for it to work. It's lighthearted. There's humor in it. There's a demon in it that I ended up really liking, named Vuto. It was a good read. I had originally found Brom through a recommendation to read Slewfoot, which was also good. I like this one better, but Slewfoot is about a witch who exists during puritanical times. She needs assistance and gets help from the devil, and so her power grows. They develop a friendship. It was a good story. Evil in Me, I think, is the better of the two. If I had to choose, if I had to tell you to start with one of them, I would say that this would probably appeal to more people. If you've read Brom, let me know if there's a different one that I should read. I think Lost Gods is one that I want to read next. That's kind of a person descends to hell to try and find a loved one, I think, and retrieve them. Not sure. I did read a lot of stuff that I had never heard of before. I read some disappointing things and I read some good things. So Brom was a good find. Ronald Malfi was a good find. He writes horror and he might be the best of the horror people that I've discovered. He wrote, the only two that I've read so far are Blackmouth and Small Town Horror. Both were very good. I have a book from the library right now called The Narrows, so we'll see if he can keep the streak going. I read a weird book, Looking Glass Sound, by Catriona Ward. That one was not for me. I read that when I was on vacation in October, and it was trying too hard. It was a book that turned very meta and became a book inside a book, which also became a book inside a book. There were too many twists and turns that finally I got annoyed. It wasn't hard to follow, but it made me not care about any of the characters at all. Not that I was loving it, not that I was attached to the characters before, but by the end, it was just a read to see what happens. How is she going to fix what she's done? The Girl Next Door by Jack Ketchum, I read that. I was nauseated. I do not have a weak stomach, but that book was torture porn, and it wasn't even overly graphic. But I was reading it, and I read it all in a day. I was morbidly fascinated, like, how is this going to get worse? And it always got worse. Like, we're still 100 pages out. How can this get worse? And then it does. And at first I was disturbed as to how he could write this book and come up with the things that he was coming up with. And then I found out it was based on a true crime story. Obviously he changed some things, but then I was kind of disturbed by, why do you need to imagine yourself in this situation? And I don't know why. I like fictionalized stuff. I love Looking for Mr. Goodbar, and that's a fictionalized version of a real crime that happened. So I don't know if it's because this dealt with children and the evil of children who are left to do what they want to do, and a parent aids them. I don't know what it was about that book, but I finished it and I just felt off, like nauseous, and I don't do nausea. I certainly would never read that one again. I would never recommend that one to anyone. I'm sure there are other books, but we'll talk about those later. Have a spooky day.